James Lynch here for Home of Fight. Always great catching up with my next guest, who's going to be in the corner of Sean O'Malley at UFC 324 on January 24th. It's Tim Welch back here on the program. Tim, how are you?
Doing pretty good, James. Thanks for having me on. We've been super busy with everything and pretty locked in on this fight. We're only a few weeks away now, so can't complain. Everything's going pretty good.
Did you get to enjoy the holidays at all, or was it all business throughout the holidays?
No, we got to enjoy the holidays. Got my family got to come down and visit, and it was a really nice time. Just relax and unwind a little bit.
Is that the norm that your family comes to see you? Because I imagine you're probably not wanting to go to Montana this time of year.
Yeah, my mom and sister live in Canada. My dad lives in Montana, so I'd always prefer to be in AZ. People don't understand how nice Arizona is in these winter months. It is just beautiful every single day. You don't even think about the weather, so I like it here.
My grandparents used to have a place in Mesa, so we a couple Christmases we spent down there, so I can relate. It's all the hype. You mentioned you got family in Canada. Whereabouts?
Lethbridge, Alberta is my
nice.
mom.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
awesome. Just have to ask, as a Canadian, always interested in that stuff. When did you find out about this fight? Because I talked to Song Yadong. I think it was a couple weeks ago. He had mentioned this fight was in the works for a while. So when did you guys actually find out about him as an opponent?
We kind of heard wind of it probably a few months ago. I'm trying to think. Was it around maybe in October? There was mentionings of it. Nothing, no contract sent or anything, but it was just word on the street that's what they wanted next for us, and it's what ended up happening. So
yeah, and then obviously they put it on this card. You must have been so happy to be a part of this, Paramount era, the first card, part of history on the 24th, right?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But at the end of the day, everything's going to be the same. It's going to be the same cage. It's going to be the same arena, the same warm up area. Everything's the same, but definitely exciting for the first one on Paramount. It's pretty cool.
Did you want this much time off in between fights? Obviously, we saw O'Malley in June, and here we are talking about a fight in January. Was that ideal for you, or were you hoping to get one in last year?
I know he wanted to get one in last year, but then it was nice just getting a little break, getting ready for those 5-round fights back to back to back. Those 5-round fights, they take a lot out of you. So being able to enjoy the family, enjoy everything was pretty nice little break. And
just last thing on sort of the matchup heading in, was this the opponent you wanted? Because obviously there's a couple other names around there that were didn't have fights booked. Song Yadong, are you guys happy with getting him as the opponent?
Yeah, I mean, Song Yadong, top 5. I think he's ranked number 5. He is he's an animal. Anybody in this top 10, top 5 especially, they're just literally the best fighters on the planet Earth. So any fight we get from here on out is just going to be one of the best in the world. So pretty excited for this one. We know Song Yadong is going to come out and try to wrestle us and try to pin us against the fence, and we're planning for that. But it would be sweet if he wanted to stand up and make a really exciting fight for the fans. That would be sweet too. But we're prepared for everything. We're prepared to choke him if we need to. But Song Yadong, I'm not even. Everyone's so excited about this White House, the potential of this. Well, I'm not even trying. I try to just not think about that one bit, because Song Yadong is such an animal. He trains at a great gym. He's such an explosive athlete. He's good on the ground. He's an explosive wrestler. He knocks people out. He fights the best people in the world, and the best people in the world don't finish him. So we got our hands full January 24th, so we're preparing for that.
What do you make of his layoff coming into the fight? He hasn't fought since February. I think the expectation was he would fight again, but he basically told me that they were trying to get some fights together. They didn't materialize, so he'll be coming in almost close to a year. It was February when he fought last time.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that. Sometimes that matters with guys. Sometimes that matters zero. He's gonna come in. We're expecting him to come in there fresh, explosive. This is the biggest opportunity of his life, so he's gonna be more prepared than he's ever been. I almost guarantee it.
As far as training partners, who are some of the main guys that Sean's working with ahead of this fight?
Oh, we got a few kickboxers coming in. We got this Jack England kid coming in. We got Sanjay Seer coming in. I have a bunch of different guys coming in, different looks, and the atmosphere in there is intense on sparring days. I turn on the crowd music, so the whole gym's just raring with crowd music. You can barely hear me corner. We pretty much have him do the walkouts, and I have fresh guys going in on him. So we're pushing him hard. We have some great training partners for this.
Good stuff. Someone I mentioned in our last interview, I'll bring him up again because this may be the year we see him in the UFC. Ezra Elliot, I know he switched weight classes. He's going to 45 now. What are your expectations for him this year as he looks to sort of get to that next level?
Man, I can't wait for that kid to get in the UFC. I just cannot wait. I know people. I think I don't know if they are or not, but a rumor has it is UFC's kind of trying to get away from people who just pin people, who just try to stall out grapplers who are going to pin you in half guard for the whole fight. I think they're trying to get away with that, which is smart. They probably should. I mean, it's a sport people are going to want to watch. But Ezra Elliott, he doesn't do that. He strangles everyone. The last guy who won the East Coast Trials, ADCC, Dorian Alvarez, Ezra was the last one to submit him. The kid who won the EBI recently, Ezra was the last one to beat him. So Ezra is so phenomenal on the ground. There's barely anybody who can keep up with him on the ground. So he could choke out any featherweight on any given day. So I'm really hoping he gets his opportunity soon. I know the UFC wants people to stay busy when they're not signed yet. So right now we're just trying to keep him healthy, putting on a little size since we moved him up to 145. The 135 division is so stacked around the world. There's guys that are 10, 12, 13 and 0 that aren't getting an opportunity at 135. So moving him to 45, he's a tall kid. He's a tall kid. He's got a big build to him, and he's really strong. He's not going to get outpowered by anyone at 45. So that's the move. And I'm really hoping we get something short notice coming up for him because he's always ready.
Yeah, no, it's someone to keep an eye on in 2026. Back to O'Malley quickly. With this being a 3-round fight, does the game plan alter a little bit? Because I know he's used to kind of having those 5-round fights. In a lot of cases, it's going to be, it doesn't typically fight in 3-round fights.
It's so different. It's so different. For the 5-round fights, we were starting 10, 12 weeks out, and it was just we were peaking right at about 8 weeks, and we still had 4 hard weeks to train. So it was hard to just be like, oh my God, 3 months of hard training really zapped their energy. So we started out about 7 weeks out this time. So he never gets out of shape. He never gets fat in the gut and out of shape. He's always training. He's always keeping his heart and his body in shape. He always eating good. So he never falls completely out of shape. So starting 7 weeks out, it's better. We're going to peak right at the right time. And 3 rounds is so different. People don't realize how different 3 rounds is. It's almost half the time of fighting. But again, you have to prepare these guys in these 3-round fights to come out and be ready for a sprint from the first bell because you cannot afford to give away those first rounds. So we're planning on a sprint of a fight for 15 minutes and really emptying the tank for 15 minutes.
One thing that we know from the last fight going in against Merab was that, O'Malley was kind of off doing YouTube stuff and social media. Is that still the same thing for this fight where he's just kind of focusing on fighting and having other people handle the rest of that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. He has people hired for his Snapchat, his Instagram, his YouTube. He doesn't even get on those anymore. Yeah, when you're the champion, you get so much opportunities. You get so much opportunities with celebrities. You get big dinners. You get invited everywhere. Everyone wants to do a business deal with you. Everyone wants to eat dinner with you. Everyone wants to. So there's just so much. Every single person wants you on their podcast. And when you're building a brand, it's like, oh well, I can't pass this up. This is gonna be good. To go stream with this guy or do this. And we got a little farm. We don't have nothing to do. We just go train and then come home. That's all. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about that. Prediction. How's this one playing out? Song Yadong, pretty durable guy, tough to take out. I think his last sort of stoppage loss was that doctor stoppage against Sandhagen. How do you see this one playing out?
I mean, that was a fat cut. I'm expecting we're planning for a 15-minute brutal war. He's similar to Cheeto. I mean, he's way faster than Cheeto. He's got more spring to Cheeto. He's a little bit more dangerous on his feet. He can KO you for sure. But again, Suge's a KO artist. And the thing is, when you're a KO artist, you go in there and you start sitting down on punches and really trying to crack people. But we're preparing for him to be there for 15 minutes. So we're planning to beat his body up, to cut his face, to punch his head, to potentially choke him, maybe take him down, ride him a little bit. We're preparing for a 15-minute war. And I haven't really thought about how it's going to play out, but in my heart, I feel like we're gonna whoop his ass for 15 minutes.
I know you said that everything's kind of the focus is on January 24th, but a lot of people feel, especially the way they're kind of doing title shots these days and everything else, like a win here, even if it's a decision, that O'Malley could fight Petr Yan, especially with that history there. I'm sure you can't help but think that a win here could get Sean another title shot.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's in the back of our minds, for sure that's a possibility, and I do think that's going to bring out the best performance for Sean, because when that fight happened, that he just like lit up. He saw there's another opportunity there. But again, he's like, careful. Peter Yan for 5 rounds. Whew, we're gonna have to fucking be ready for that. But I think Peter Yan he sat down and thought a little bit, and he's like, wow, okay, if Paramount is renegotiating these deals for champions and it's gonna be guaranteed money versus pay-per-view money, maybe based on views, then you can see why he posted that on his story that he wants Sean in the White House. But again, fun to think about, but we got a fucking monster ahead of us already.
But you can kind of see the trend, I think, too, with how they're going with title shots. Like, a lot of people were upset that Patty got the title shot just after the win over Chandler, and then Diego Lopez getting the opportunity against Volkanovski when you've got like Lerone Murphy and Evoyev. Like, I don't know. I get the sense now, and I know we've had title shots in the past that maybe weren't like favorable by fans, but it seems like they are very much valuing entertainment, branding, all that stuff when it comes to making fights. Are you kind of noticing that as well?
Yeah, I mean, the UFC is so. The matchmakers they're like black belt matchmakers. They're so good. They're at matchmaking, and obviously Dana, he's a genius. So yeah, they're gonna make the fights that the people want to see, because if they don't, then we're gonna have a bunch of Russians who sit there and pin you in half guard, or they'll put you on the wall, hold their hands around your waist, and just stall the clock. Though it'll be full of that. If they do something about it, it'll be full of people that are just pinning. And if you want to see someone get pinned for 25 minutes, it's just not going to be good for viewership.
Yeah, I think things are certainly changing the way they're booking fights. We'll have to see. And safe to say, too, I know you didn't want to talk about it, but the White House, I imagine that is something that you want to be a part of, because it's interesting with this card. I think the timing works out great for a lot of people on this card, where that is enough time off between now and June of when they're planning on doing the White House card.
So you said they're planning on doing it in June?
That's my understanding. Yeah, it was June. I think they said June 14th. I think it's not official yet, but that's what we're hearing is June is going to be the White House card.
That would be absolutely insane if that happens. But again, I won't be surprised if they put Sean on the White House card, because every contract he signed, he showed up to fight. We've been injured bad. Like 90% of people on earth wouldn't fight. It's not like he needs the money, but every time he signs that contract, he shows up to the cage to fight. And I know the UFC appreciates that.
You mentioned Petr Yan. What did you make of his win over Merab? I think a lot of people were not expecting that. With you look at the betting odds, you look at the run that Merab was on. What was your thoughts sort of going in and then after the fact?
Man, I knew people were counting out Petr Yan. They were counting out him, and people forget that dude is a fucking monster. Like, I know he's in our division. We fought him before. We might have to fight him again, but still, he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. Just an absolute black belt in MMA, and he's just a fucking Terminator. He's a Terminator. And I think when he was elbowing Merab's forearm, I think that did do something. And that I'm pissed I didn't think of that myself, because so much of a 25-minute fight gets spent with Merab around your waist, and Petr Yan butchered his forearm. And I had some of my students doing it to me, and just a few sharp elbows right to that forearm gets down to the bone. And that's like just a little bit. And it almost kills your grip, and it fucking aches. And Petr Yan was butchering it. You could see Merab holding it after one of the rounds, and I think that definitely affected him.
I know also on YouTube you had a really good year. I always check out your show. I know one of your regular guests is MMA Guru. What did you make of that whole situation with him and Demetrius Johnson, where they couldn't do the show anymore? And do you ever get any backlash for having him on at all?
Not really. I mean, he has some crazy brash outlooks, but anybody who has crazy brash outlooks on YouTube, they usually do really well on YouTube. That's what people want to see. People don't want to see people just not having a character, being super respectful. Like, those channels never grow. So he knows what he's doing. He's building a life for himself. But I wasn't that surprised that the Mighty Mouse and Guru pod ended. I mean, it was a great show, obviously, but then Guru does get a little bit crazy. So when you have big sponsors wanting to sponsor you, and Demetrius Mighty Mouse has been a black belt in MMA, black belt in jiu-jitsu for a long time. So when you've been in the cage a lot, and you've sparred a lot, you've trained a lot with people, you've fought a lot, you have a different level of respect, I think. So
yeah. Well, it's cool. One thing I think that's really cool about you is you definitely pay attention to what's going on YouTube. Like, I saw you had Bedtime MMA on. Like, I know you're keeping tabs on like some of the bigger creators. How's that been for you? Because I'm sure you're learning from them, and also your channel's done really well over the last year too. So it must be kind of neat to see that side of the industry, because like, most of us just see the regular media side, right? Like the reporting and the events and stuff, but there's this whole other sector, which is, MMA YouTube.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I think MMA on YouTube was like one of the second or third largest growing sports
Yeah.
in the world, which is pretty cool. But I really have fun doing my YouTube. I've had a YouTube channel for a long time now. I enjoy doing the content. I enjoy the whole process of it. It is a lot of work, but it is fun. And I always have so much respect for guys like you who are super passionate about it, who've stuck with it for so long, and guys like even Bedtime MMA who just use their phone. I have so many friends with potential to be big YouTubers, but they don't have the balls to just be vulnerable and just put it out. So those guys with just basic setups that aren't afraid to be vulnerable and just put out content no matter what people are going to think, and then stick with it and then be able to make a living from it, it's just fucking awesome. So
Any goals for your channel this year? Any like big plans? Anything you want to achieve? I know again the focus is on Sean's fight, but I'm sure you've also looked at what's happening in the industry and going, hey, maybe I can bring this to another level.
yeah, I'm always, no matter what, I'm always trying to think of ways I can improve my show, improve my content, improve my set. But the biggest thing is every year is just my goal is to be consistent. There's so many days where I'm like, God, I don't feel like getting ready for a pod, or I don't feel like doing this, or I don't have a ton to talk about. But I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm just going to do it anyway. So my goal 2026 is same as it always is just be consistent.
Last question and ties into YouTube. This Jack Doherty thing with Andrei Arlovski. What did you make of that whole thing? Because it was like kind of like YouTube like trolls in real life, encountering like a professional fighter like Arlovski. You know, if he was let loose, I think he would have destroyed those kids, right?
He would destroy the kids. He would have destroyed the security guard. He would have done everything. Those kids got to be careful. It's okay if you're at these influencer events and you're going around talking shit to a bunch of little turds, but you run into a real monster, they're going to take out your security guard, and they're going to cave your face in too. And I think that would be good for those kids to get their teeth kind of maybe smushed in a little bit and just realize like, whoa, I
Yeah.
better watch the fuck out what I say, because I'm not invincible. And these security guards, unless you're getting a UFC level security guard, they're going to get their asses whooped too.
Yeah.
So I look forward to the day where they run into the wrong guy and they get stomped out. So it'll be good.
Or at least just take a jiu-jitsu class, get a little bit humbled, right? Some of the stuff that people are saying online. I think if more people trained, I think you'd see less of that. Don't you think?
I think so too. I definitely think if they just train, but also a real ass whooping where you
Yeah.
break something, or you're recovering for like weeks or months. A real ass whooping changes people, and I think it'd be good for those fellas.
Tim, you're the best. Thanks for doing this, man. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? Your YouTube channel, anything else you got coming up? I'll give you the last word.
Nope, just Tim Welch on MT on everything, and that's it. Thanks a ton, James.